They saw you and they were speechless. It is not something you planned, and it is not a moment you tried to create. Yet, when they saw you, everything about their reaction changed in that instant. In an instant, there was no preparation for it on their side, no way for them to control how it affected them. It simply happened, and it felt and it left them without words. The way you carried yourself in that moment stood out more than anything else. It was not just about appearance or presence, it was the combination of your energy, your confidence, and the way you moved without trying to prove anything. That kind of presence is not easy to overlook, especially for someone who was not expecting to feel anything at all. They may have seen you before, but this time was different. Something about you felt more defined, more grounded, and more certain. It created a contrast that they could not ignore, and that contrast is what held their attention longer than they expected. For a moment, they did not know how to respond. Words did not come easily, and their usual way of reacting was not there. That silence was not empty. It was filled with a mix of surprise, recognition, and a realization that and a realize and a realization they were not prepared to face. This began to notice they began to notice details they did not they had not paid attention to before. They were the way you looked, the way you held yourself, and even the way you responded to the environment around you became more significant in their mind. It was as if they were seeing you clearly for the first time. There is always an intentional and there is always an internal reaction that followed that moment. Once the initial surprise passed, their thought did not return to normal. They kept going back to that encounter, trying to understand why it affected them the way it did. That reflection had stayed with them longer than they expected. You may not have noticed a depth of that reaction because it was not expressed openly, but on their side it created a shift. It changed how they view you and how they think about you moving forward. This moment is not only about this moment is not only about that single encounter. It is about what it revealed sometimes. It is about what it revealed. Sometimes it takes one clear moment for someone to see something they had overlooked for a long time. What stood out to them was not something you forced. It was something natural, and that is what made it impossible for them to ignore or quickly move past. If this is your first time coming across this channel, Prophetic Diary with Alice, you are highly welcome. God bless you. Kindly subscribe, hit the notification bell so that anytime that I drop a video like this one, you will be the first person to see. See you in our next episode.